Rachel. We grew up in a small town, about 2,000 people, rural Minnesota. We grew up in a small house with, I have two other siblings. Two other siblings, and my faith story kind of begins from there. So, growing up, we had a dad. Well, he's still our dad, but he was kind of an absent father. And it was about when I was 12 years old, my parents finally got a divorce after my father had an affair with another woman, and it was just kind of a very dysfunctional start to life, I think, and just watching my mom go through that season of divorce and trying to figure out like what she did wrong. I think when I was younger, I was blessed to have, a strong faith in God and just believe that everything happened for a reason. And so I think that was like a turning point for my life to really start taking my walk with God seriously. But as you know, when you grow up, you go through different phases in life, you meet different people, you have different experiences, and you just start to, that starts to wear and tear on your life and your faith, and I think that's all a part of the maturing process as well. And so I went through many different phases in life and a very dark period, especially my senior year of high school. I was in a relationship with someone, and we were really involved with like church activities, and that's kind of when I started to have a passion and a desire to serve overseas, because we went overseas to Eastern Europe together. And I thought this was it, like God had my life all settled and ready, and I was really committed to this person. Like, we were young, but I was like, I'm in love and I'm gonna marry this man. And I was ready. But then things just started falling apart. The insecurities from my past and the dysfunctional behavior that I grew up in just kind of surfaced. And he left me, and that really devastated me. And I went through a period where I was blaming myself, and I was really mad at God, and I didn't know who I was. And it was after high school where I started to just rebel and try to distract myself from what was really going on. And I lived a double life. I was interning at this Youth for Christ place where I was a counselor to young kids, but then on the weekends I was with my friend who was kind of a nominal Christian, and he would go out and help me meet other people, and alcohol was an influence in that. And so I was out partying on the weekends, and then throughout the week trying to play the Jesus girl, I guess. And it was just so bad. And finally my mom called me out on it. The end of July, I hadn't applied for college. I didn't know where I was gonna go. I thought I was just gonna be a bum at home and work a part-time job. But she really spoke to me and encouraged me to apply to some colleges. And I was like, I don't really know. And then she was like, why not North Central? Because that's where Rachel was going at the time. And I was like, I don't know. And so I applied, and I got accepted by the grace of God, really. And I started going there, and it was kind of by accident. I didn't really foresee myself studying intercultural studies, but I just did, because I was like, oh yeah, I get to go on mission trips, that's fun. I get to travel, and I like doing that, that was fun. And so I was signed up for that for my first semester, and I was going through some classes, and I was still really bitter, and I did not like the school at all. I was like, these are just a bunch of fake people worshiping an invisible God. Why are they all so hyped up and dancing, and what are they doing? And that's when I met, later that year, I just continued to progress in my depression and anxiety. And I was taking a class because I was ahead credit-wise from high school. I had taken more college classes, and so I got to advance to being a sophomore in my studies. And so I met this guy who was, one of the requirements was to go on a mission field trip, and I met a missionary named Brian Thomas, who who was like, hey, what are you doing with your life? I'm like, not coming back here. And I was like, see ya. And he was like, no, you're coming overseas with me. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then he just kind of kept talking to me about it because he knew that I had gone to Bulgaria, which is where he grew up, or did some ministry there. And so we had that connection, and I was like, no, I don't really want to. And he's like, no, come on, you have to come with. So I signed up for the trip, and somehow all of my funds came through, they just came through. It was such a blessing. And I kind of faked my way through this trip. Like I played the let's do our devotional time in the morning. And then one morning I had the girl who was a leader of the trip come and talk to me, and she and I just had a heart to heart, and I started confessing everything. Like, oh, it was so good. And she prayed for me, and that was like the moment that hit me. Just this Apostle Paul-like moment where grace hit me. And it was nothing of my own accord. There was nothing that I did to deserve this. And that's kind of when I started changing my life, and I rededicated my life back to Christ. And I was a whole different person after that. I think it's really funny to look back at how I was. And even my friends still make fun of me. They're like, oh, you were weird. I don't know, there's just a life transformation that happened at that point. And from then on, Brian became like a father figure in my life, and we just built this really awesome connection. And that's when the Lord started giving me, dreams and desires to work with those of less fortunate than I. And I just continued to pursue that and pursue teaching English, because I saw that as a great way for the people to, learn a practical skill. And so I finished my degree last May, and right now I'm in the, kind of stuck process, but it's been really awesome because God has just given me a lot of great connections. For instance, like Scott opened up his house to me. Thanks, Scott. He wanted me to mention him. So all to God. All to God. And so now I'm working as a preschool teacher downtown with some metro area with kids, and it's at first I didn't like it, but I love it now. So I think if I could just share, it's just amazing to see the grace of God unfold and how He orchestrates everything for a reason, and really does give it second chances. Because man, I was so low, and I still have moments where I'm low and I'm down, and I just come back to that, that transformation process, that God is with us in the process and in the maturing of our faith. So.